empty. No one really looked at it. Until finally I decided, why not? Let's fill my brother's pantyhose. And I remembered a couple summers ago, my mom would drive to Toronto, and she would always tell me, I wish I had a dummy to put in the passenger seat so I could take the fast lane. And I was like, wait a second. 2 birds with 1 stone. And so I put on some dark shades, and I tried to go to every store, but none of them had dummies. And so I finally found a store that was called XXX. And it's so strange because you see me and I'm like this goody two-shoes, as everyone should know. And I went into the store and I looked a lot like this the whole time. And you could hear me saying this stuff like this the whole time. What is that? What do they use that for? Where does that go? Who would buy that? Who has enough money for this toy? Until finally I went to the back of the store and found inflatable dolls. I mean, if you can call them dolls. And so I picked this one up, and it was called Lucy, and Lucy was a very pretty doll. And so I bought her because she was at the end of the price range, which was still pretty high. And I took her to the garage, and I blew her up. It took so much effort. And so in the wee hours of the morning, I stuffed her into my brother's pantyhose, and I went back to my room and giggled for at least 2 hours. And then I fell asleep. And so the next morning, I could hear my brother screaming, "Oh my God, I finally got one!" And so I went out and I saw that nice Lucy was sitting in the pantyhose, and my parents came out and they said, "Oh, yay." And so we decided, it's a nice joke, why not just leave it there? And so my grandparents came over for the traditional Christmas dinner. And my grandma walked in and she looked at the fireplace and said, "What is that?" And my brother was like, "It's a doll." And my grandma was like, "Who would play with that?" And I could have said so many names right then. I did it. And so my grandma said, "Why doesn't it have any teeth?" Once again, I could say so many things, but I didn't. And so my brother said, "Grandma, why don't we go into the kitchen where the food is?" And so my granddad came up to me and he's like, he doesn't have too good eyesight. And he's like, "Who's the gal?" And I said, "It's Roland's friend." She's available. And so I actually witnessed my granddad going up to the doll and talked to it. No, that's not right. He went up to the doll and started to flirt with it. And that's when I discovered this is the last Christmas Granddad's going to spend at home. And so we went into the kitchen and we ate dinner, and we had the usual family talk. Who died that year? Who's dying this year? Who should be killed? Until all of a sudden we heard this big noise that, sounds like my dad in the morning in the bathroom. And Lucy went flying around the room. And then she landed in a big heap. And then my brother peed his pants, and then I squirted cranberry sauce out my nose because my granddad ran over and started giving CPR. Mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. And my grandma threw down her napkin and stomped out to the car and went to bed the rest of the time. Poor granddad. And so later that day, I took the doll to the garage, and my brother and I gave it an examination, and we discovered that she suffered from a hot amber to the back thigh. And she was healed with a bit of duct tape and some air again. And you know what? That was a great Christmas, one to remember and treasure forever. And you know what? I think my granddad still calls poor Lucy whenever he can get out of the house. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.